back to Berlin, Germany, home of the LEC, as we just saw Rogue going on an 8-0 win streak. It's insane. Not only that, they also have the fastest game ever so far, I need to say, though. Joining me is the top laner for Rogue, Odoamne, and I need to ask you, Odoamne, why are you guys so dominant?
I think there's a bit of draft diffy going on in our games.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, I just feel like half of our games at least are won from draft, and all we have to do is just not int, because enemy for some reason is not picking like decent frontline, or they're picking random champions that just look good on paper, but in reality in game in 5v5 they don't really do much. So honestly, I think it's just good culture, solid fundamentals. Everyone's willing to kind of sacrifice himself for the other guy to carry, you know. Not everyone is a main character in this game.
Yeah.
For example, today I'm not a main character in this game, but some other game I will be. And I mean, yeah, I think just discipline and honestly a lot of draft diffy, not gonna lie.
Yeah. Now, I do want to shed some light on the game tomorrow. Our match of the week is you guys versus G2. Do you feel like they're going to be the first, I mean, let's say challenger for you guys?
I wouldn't say so. I think looking at last week's games, we had Vitality and Fnatic, and that was so far this split our biggest challenge, with two good teams in 1 week that we need to adapt our style against, because they kind of play different style from each other. So it's not really a walk in the park. But I do think that so far for this first half of the round robin, that they are our last challenge. So definitely we need to keep an eye out on them, because I also feel like recently they're starting to perform better and better.
Yeah.
So definitely not taking it lightly, you know. I'm not really just chilling with my 8-0 and stuff like this. So
could you maybe
we still want to
could
win.
you maybe pinpoint what you think G2 is doing so well then?
I mean, I just think they have good players overall. I feel like they also kind of understand that not everyone needs to carry, and sometimes their bot is playing unconventional stuff with the Seraphine, Pyke, Bard, all of this stuff, and then they play their role in that composition very well, and they let mid and top carry. So I feel like they also showcase this sort of discipline where they can adapt in the game more based on draft what they want to do. And yeah, I mean, I feel like just solid fundamentals so far, and they were faster than other teams to kind of develop a play style somewhat.
It's interesting you start about that top lane, about that solo lane, because tomorrow you're facing off Broken Blade. We see G2 maybe as your last challenger, she just said. How do you look at Broken Blade as an opponent?
I mean, in the pool of strong laners, I feel like there's me, Broken Blade, Wonder, and Alphari. So whoever you put your hand and stick your hand in the pot, everyone's kind of like, you know, the same in a way, where I don't really I kind of categorize them as like lane dominant and not. And yeah, I mean, definitely top matchup tomorrow is gonna be something I need to look out for. It's not gonna be walk in the park, which is kind of like the same story with Wonder and Alphari so far. And I also feel like G2 as a team kind of tends to play more towards that top side of the map, and for those top matchups when they have like counter pick or strong top lane, they play for that and they kind of put on carry pants on top lane. So yeah, I mean, definitely it's going to be harder than today, you know, because I feel like for them primarily top lane is a win condition. So I need to, and not get complacent about it.
Yeah. Odoamne, thank you so much for your insights. Good luck tomorrow. And we are going to head on over to the Analyst Desk to break down that game.
Thank you very much, Koolein. Always good to hear from Odoamne. And as exciting and also one-sided as that game one, we're actually going to look ahead now to Team Vitality versus Misfits. It's the game ahead of us, and it's really huge because there's actually only one win separating these teams in the standings as we look to close out the first round robin.
Yeah, this is a pretty important game for both teams. I think Misfits is an organization that over the last 2 years is often underestimated in terms of their expectations, but with these consistently new rosters, they do find a way to surprise, and ending their first half of the split with a winning record, especially over teams like Vitality, who you expect expect to be competing for that playoff spot with is going to be a very valuable win.
And what I'd love to have as a segue from this last game to this one actually is, you know, Odoamne is saying, oh, I didn't feel like the main character. Actually, looking at teams like G2 as well, you can kind of just win by just having an ensemble of great players. And I feel like in this next game we've got up as well, Vitality have showcased that in the last couple of weeks. Now, it took a while to get that engine running, but the stock which they have to work with is so incredibly high that now they have a lot of options to play the game with.
Yeah, Vitality as a whole, incredibly strong laners, have been very successful. Obviously, we look at week 1 and we're like, all right, that's a gimme. And we had, you know, shaky weeks. We had the 2-0 week, had a 1-1 week, and ultimately that's led them to where they are today. But I don't think their scoreline is indicative of how good they are, especially when you look at, some of those landing discrepancies right down below me, or some of the incredible individual playmakers.
Those are big numbers.
I think what's impressive is this is their average CS discrepancy across all the games, including the losses, right? So, like, even those numbers are actually brought down by that rough first week that they did have. But the reality is, and the point that we wanted to make was that, on average, these 3 players on Vitality are just reliable in their lanes. And what does that mean? It allows Selfmade to basically do whatever he wants. We've talked a lot about how in the current meta right now, it is very much about scaling, a lot more about team fighting and less about dominating the lane. And when you have a player like Selfmade who can kind of leverage what is happening on the map and that he has such consistent laners, he actually gets to be much more of a star on a roster like this because of how well he can control the early game, enable his laners, and basically set up Vitality for success.
And I think you can even see that in the champion pool, right? Being able to pull out a Gwen. You can only do that if your lanes give you a platform to actually get into the game. You don't get to play these kinds of champions if you don't have a platform. Being able to push up into the river, be able to fight these kinds of skirmishes they've been going for.
Absolutely, and I think we saw it in week 1, even when Vitality were struggling. Games like the Kiana game, the fact that it's now coming to fruition as a team effort is massive for the side of Vitality, and one of the reasons why we look at them as not a sure thing for play-ins, but it's, or playoffs rather. Woo! Not trying to knock them down that soon. One step at a time. It's one of the reasons that we feel so confident this is the team that is going to make playoffs. That said, a matchup that I want to shift our attention to is on the top side of the map. Alphari versus HiRit. HiRit, very up and down split so far. Alphari seems to have found his comfort zone this season, but 2 overall very storied players.
Yeah, and we wanted to compare the different champions and kind of look at how they approach the game. You can see that they don't actually have very many shared champions. One of the big things that we really wanted to note was how Alphari does actually have a tendency to play more of these weak side carries when you contrast that to HiRit, who's more towards the strong side carries. So Irelia, Gwen, typically does types of champions you want those resources funneled into, whereas Graves, Gangplank usually leave isolated and actually just farm by themselves to just then be a carry later on. And there is this slight stylistic difference in approach that I think gives the contrasting junglers more freedom in the form of Selfmade, whereas for Shlatan, he kind of needs to put those resources up towards topside to enable HiRit, which we don't consistently see.
Yeah, it's very recursive, right? And actually, because you're playing these champions the side of Vitality very efficiently, that wraps around too. You look at how Selfmade has managed to have quite a low jungle jungle proximity and still managed to get involved in the game. It's all on the same page. It's all efficient. It's all knowing where to be and which plays they actually want to take. So it all folds into each other.
Yeah, and the consistency that we've seen from the side of Vitality, while admirable, isn't always reflected on the opposite side for Misfits, and is definitely something we have to flag as we head into this game.
Yeah, it certainly is. I think that when we look at Misfits across the board, one of the things that has been their criticism is the early game. It is not the strongest. We've seen their bot lane get both 2v2 killed and 2v2 kills. We've seen HiRit solo kill and solo die in the top lane. We've seen Shlatan have high jungle presence and low jungle presence. And while some of these are shifted and related to the draft, ultimately that level of consistency is not something that we see from Misfits. The big outlier to that is, of course, Vetheo.
So what you're saying is that all the other lanes, they're not like bot line, it's flat line?
Okay.
I'm allowed one.
Yeah, sure. No, that's fine. You earned it.
So if we're going to talk about Misfits and where it's a little bit more lively, I got a beep on that. EKG or whatever the thing is. Right, it really is Vetheo. You look at the game against Rogue even, right? They were getting 2v2 kills in lane between mid and jungle. They were managing to break open that part of the map, and a lot of that is actually by picking champions which allow the mid to fight. Again, we mentioned that with a couple of other teams, but for Misfits it's no less relevant. And this is what it comes to. Look at this kill participation. A lot of things start through Vetheo.
It's really impressive that he's able to find these mid lane champions that can both have control over the lane. Sometimes it will give him opportunity to roam, but then really stand out that in the late game. And last week, his game on Casio against G2, he landed 2 massive ultimates that basically swung the game in their favor. And he's a player that is very humble. We've seen from interviews, he still feels that mids in EU still have something over better than him, but he's confident that he can be better. And I think that this is what Misfits saw in him. He is a player that they can invest in over time and become, and in the future become one of the next EU greats.
And we'll have to continue to, because in a matchup that most certainly favors Vitality, pressure is on Vetheo to be the difference maker as we head over to Dagda and Oisin for the cast.
Thank you so much, Drakos, Vedius, and Nymaera. Of course, big moment for both of these teams, sitting very much in the pack of people in the middle. This could be the difference between a 5-3 Misfits or a 4-4 Vitality.
Yeah, and it really does feel like, especially for Vitality, just coming off the back of the Rogue loss, they'd like to be able to pick up some nice wins for themselves, but also coming across and just looking at Misfits, right? It feels like they're slowly starting to get the split together, and a win against Vitality, as you say, could knock them quite a bit up in those standings.
Absolutely. If you watched last week, you, of course, know about the barn burner of a game between Misfits and G2, which I feel like Misfits were lucky to still be within an opportunity to win, but then unlucky then to lose. So we'll see if they are able to rectify that coming into this game as we get the absolutely insane dubstep coming into this champ select. And I love how we're the only ones in the studio for this, because it's like literally like a club. It's like, oh, by the way, welcome to the club.
Look, I'm not gonna lie, coming into this, I am very excited for the Polish jungler face-off. Selfmade coming up against Shlatan. It feels like they are going to have so much work cut out for them to see if they can get those team heads. That is a hard shift in tone.
I was gonna say, never mind, it's not a club, it's 80s night.
Disco fever.
Disco fever, let's go. Anyway, coming back in, we're going to start talking about, oh, there's the bass. Nice song. We come back into this one now. Team Vitality going to be taking away the LeBlanc. Of course, we will see the Corki taken away as well. The Akali this time around. So a lot of mid lane or solo lane bans at least.
Yeah, so two of the big bans that we've seen from Vitality are the Lee Sin and the Twisted Fate. It's 71%. So the fact that we're not seeing either of those is a bit curious, and I feel like Shlatan definitely a very strong Lee Sin player, so Vitality could go for the last ban Lee Sin, leave the Twisted Fate open for themselves if they want to go towards it. Looking across over at Misfits though, they banned the Twisted Fate for them, so it makes things a hell of a lot easier, and a lot of focus on Perkz, who really has been popping off as of late in a lot of the Vitality.
I mean, arguably the best Western player that's ever lived. You know, I think that's again, I say a lot of these very generic terms, but hyperbole, but he, as we were doing our history earlier, like he's one of only 2 players who has won the North American LCS and the LEC. He is one of the guys who got to the finals. He's moved, swapped roles, still won championship. This is a guy that has just done it all, except for, the most important prize. But Worlds will come for EU eventually.
We don't get any Heelys in this game, though. Last Zeri ban coming through. Alphari straight off with the Renekton pick. So this is something we've seen banned quite substantially on right side in LEC and other regions as well. Super strong top pick. It does mean if you want to go towards the Xin Zhao here for Shlatan, though, that could give you that really strong jungle matchup that you want going up against someone like Selfmade.
Yeah, and again, something that we look towards other regions, like the likes of LPL, likes of LCK, they have massive priority on this because it gives you so much of an early game start that you can link in with those skirmish-heavy junglers.
Okay, so Shlatan actually goes towards the Lee Sin, and I'm curious to see what the plan is, right? Because oftentimes we see Misfits try and take something for Neon here. You could go towards the Jinx, although the Jhin has been more favored for Neon, because oftentimes what we see from Misfits is not team fighting compositions. They end up going more for these kind of 1-3-1 styles that are looking for a pick, and especially off of Veto's champion pool, like where we see, the Akali banned away. We're looking at things like the Sylas, so we'll have to see if that's going to be the game plan, but they just want to take that Jayce away and keep a lot of their cards hidden with the counter matchup in the top lane.
I was going to say, it is possible that Renekton can go towards the mid lane. You can swap it around. It is very much a flex that can go into either solo lane, so you are just taking the Jayce away, like you mentioned, to try and cover your bases to make sure you get a strong carry in that top side.
Oh, there it is, though. That's the Diana going to be picked away, and there's the Yasuo. This is such a strong combo. Not only can Diana play very well around the Renekton in the top side, now you've got Perkz coming in on that Yasuo in the mid lane as well. Team fights galore, good side lane pressure. This is feeling like a big moment here for Perkz to pop off with Self.
And of course, we talk about Diana Yasuo. They set themselves up so much with the Moonfall and the Last Breath, which I'm just going to call the last Moonfall, because you are dead if you get caught in that. There is nothing else that you can do about that, and that's the big wombo combo that that you like to see, especially for people like Selfmade and Perkz. We obviously talked about Perkz, but you mentioned Selfmade. These are two massive carries for this team.
One, I can't believe you didn't use my Hisaki fall. I patented that back in the day.
Well, you
And
patented it. You patented it. I couldn't take it.
Here's the silent pressure that we were talking about coming through from Misfits, right? We said they like to try and play these 1-3-1s and then look for picks in the mid game. Well, we're seeing that right here, right? Fall back towards comfort for Vetheo, which means that we're leaving Neon and Mersa out to dry a little bit. Misfits already banning away some of those support roles with the Thresh gun. Could be eyeing up some sort of Leona pick or Lawless pick. On the opposite side, I think you go for AD carries, right? Get the Jinx out of the way, get these things that like to try and play at range like the Jhin, and force Misfits to play this death ball that can set you up so nicely for a team fight.
I was just about to say, you're looking at Neon, who hasn't really favored towards, like you mentioned, he's going to be more towards the Jhin, hasn't really favored towards the quote-unquote standard Jinx and Felios, but has looked towards, you know, more of a long-term engage in terms of the success he's had with those champions.
Yeah, I mean, the Jhin is the big standout one for me, right? I mean, we saw it last time in their last game. Neon actually ended up against, I believe it was Mad Lions, with like 1,500 gold lead at the 15-minute mark or 14-minute mark, whatever way we're doing that now. But either way, like, it's still great. I still think great game plan here from Vitality, right? It's an AD carry pool that they're focusing, getting away some of these more pesky picks, and now you're looking across Thresh and Rakan banned by Misfits. I like that they're taking away the Rakan here, another big engage tool that they can try and use with Labrov, and something that obviously sets up the Yasuo very well. Still things like the Alistair involved that they want to try and go towards just more knock-up for Labrov in the bot lane.
Well, we are going to see the Jinx and the Felios still left open as the Leona is the last ban. Honestly, I feel like if you're Misfits here, you probably want to maybe just leave your support for that counter pick. Make sure you're getting a semi-decent matchup. Again, it's either the Jinx or the Phyllis, in my opinion, maybe even the Jhin for Neon. There's not really a lot of pressure here for you to, you know, kind of look for that super late.
I would take the Nautilus, because the big thing here for me is that, like, Alistair, you don't really want to take, because honestly you're looking at a Sylas who ends up with your Unbreakable, and that really sucks for trying to kill a Sylas who's like, I'm going to pop this ultimate, I'm going to heal back up, it's going to be nice and easy. And I feel like a Nautilus here could work out so well for Labrov if he wants to go for it, but Caitlyn managed to sneak her way through the entire draft. We were so focused on the Diana, Yasuo, and the Renekton that we didn't even cop that now you've got this insane bot lane coming through from Carzzy and Labrov. This is so good for Vitality. Insane strong top side of the map post 6. Insanely strong bot side of the map for them as well here. It feels like Misfits kind of losing on a lot of fronts here.
Well, we'll see what they're going to go for. It looks like it's going to be the Nautilus like you mentioned, and they're going to lock that one in there for Mersa. So both teams locked and loaded. And the one thing I can see from across the board, apart from maybe one champion, damage, and when in doubt, more damage. These teams are just oozing out one-shot potential in every single lane you look.
It feels really difficult for Misfits though, right? Because you don't really have the big pressure down on that bot side to look for kills, right? You can have Selfmade try and play down there. It's going to be a little bit tough, obviously, because you've got the Diana, who's not going to be as strong as the Lee Sin early. But if you don't get those early kills going over towards Neon and Mersa, shut down Carzzy and Labrov early, they're going to take your tower, they're going to scale, you're going to end up worrying about roams coming through from both Selfmade and Perkz down towards the bot side, and it feels like you've got a very staple bridge from Vitality into the later portion of the game, whereas for Misfits, when they want to try and play that 1-3-1, you're wanting to play through Vetheo, you want to play through HiRit, but you need to focus on towards this Caitlyn and Karma in the bot side.
And this mid-table clash is going to be probably very pivotal for both of these teams coming into the mid-state of the split, the season. And again, moment of momentum here for both these teams. Moment to say, look, this super team of Vitality can do what it was built to do. This Misfits team that's coming together a little bit more calculated, a little bit more like you work with you work with you, let's put this together and see if it works. They are finding those moments. They just need to clean it up a little bit. Both these teams will want to make the most out of this massive opportunity that they have to make it work for them and their season. Here we are, game 3 of the day of week 4, day 1. So we see both teams just getting themselves a ward, one committing a few more members than the other to get that ward in the brush.
Yeah, Misfits at least trying to see if they can spot out exactly what the game plan is here. It really does feel like for Vitality, right? Selfmade, start on this top side so that then you can try and play down towards the bot lane, get Carzzy and Labrov with that early push. Try and set up Carzzy and Labrov for success. And it's very easy to do, right? All you gotta do is full clear into that bot side, sneak a cheeky ward in onto the opposite side and make sure that you're kind of spotting out where Shlatan is trying to be. And that's why you can see Misfits, right? Trying to see if they can get that early control, spot out whether Carzzy and Labrov are going to be in lane and getting that early push.
Again, we talked about this, you know, the fact that both these teams are in the middle. As I say that, Mersa gonna find himself out. Labrov already have to use the heal on top of himself. Excuse me, getting the heal out of Carzzy, and it's gonna be a flash away. Doesn't quite get taken down. Does have himself the Time Morph tonic, but Carzzy now in a lot of trouble. Mersa will have the hook in about 2-1. No, not gonna get it just there, and will use it to back himself out.
All right, Shlatan. You know where you need to be, right? I want to see a 3-camp clear into this bot side. Use the fact that all summoner spells have been burnt on Vitality, and you know that Selfmade early game is not going to be able to match that pressure. So for Shlatan, you can see him right now, right? Red done. He is sprinting towards this bottom lane.
Literally sprinting down to try and make sure he can make something work. We'll need level 3, but right now he's just going to be able to take his 2 buffs and then maybe make something happen. There is an award right now. Actually, never mind. He's going to take his buff. He's going for level 2. He is doing exactly what you said. There are no summoners down on this bot side, and how do you beat an enchanter bot lane? You get them out of the lane.
Yeah, Hex Flash not available though. Mersa's taking damage. He spotted on the ward.
Oh, he just got caught out, but there's no flashes, so it does not matter. And that's going to mean Labrov is going to be CC'd down to hell. He has to commit his own flash, but first, blood to Neon. Perfect start for Misfits.
And this is what I wanted to see from Misfits. One of the things that I wanted to talk about coming into this series was how strong Neon and Mersa looked last weekend, right? We saw them coming through against Mad and G2. They had big gold difference of 15, great CS difference of 15, and it's been not so much just that Shlatan has been playing down towards this bot side. They've been very self-sufficient. And what we just saw was this self-sufficient play that they set up early to make sure that they could catch Carzzy and Labrov and set up Shlatan for that play. Gorgeous maneuver for Misfits and well orchestrated on the map.
And now, Vitality, you gotta look to respond. Again, we talked about the crazy amount of pressure they have in the post 6 in terms of the the Diana, the Yasuo, the Renekton. You need to find a response. You cannot let this bot lane just run away from you, especially when it's something like a Caitlyn Karma, which has been known. Flash for flash, Alphari doesn't get the kill. But again, back down towards that bot lane, Caitlyn Karma needs to be dominating.
Hey, I mean, look, flash for flash, but honestly, this sets up something for Vitality, right? Caitlyn and Karma, yes, need to get ahead, but you've got a lot of damage on a lot of other lanes you can play around as Vitality, right? You can now look to play around this top side, see if you can get the Yasuo push mid, rotate him up, look for a potential dive, and HiRit's got to play so careful now that his flash is burnt. You can see him right now, even if the lane isn't really in his favor, he's just resetting because he knows how vulnerable he can be.
Well, he heard you talking mad schmack, and he said, nah, I'm going to take these minions anyway. And I think this is just, again, recognizing that they have got a TP in the mid lane would be very difficult for the side of Vitality to really go for something, especially this early. So just soaks up the wave, does have to wait for his back to a little bit longer.
Selfmade, though, is just sitting in this bot side, and look, all this is from Selfmade is like, look, I'm not as strong right now as this Lee Sin, but I just want to make sure that we can get this full push for Carzzy in the spot lane. He hasn't reset, so a bit of a dangerous spot, but with that shove, now Labrov and Carzzy can reset. And I want to see what the plan is here, because you can always look towards Labrov to maybe look for some sort of early roam here if he wants to. And I think this is something that Labrov has been getting so much better at, is syncing up in the early game with Selfmade. And you can see him here, right? He hasn't actually gone for the reset. He's starting to move mid, potentially roaming towards some sort of topside play as Alphari's crashing that wave.
Question.
Answer.
No, that's not how that works. I have to ask the question first.
Okay.
Give me a bit of time. The Sylas ult, when if it steals the last breath from Perkz,
yes.
How does that? Does he need a knock-up, or can he just do it?
He still needs a knock-up, yeah.
Ah, okay.
So I think if you're fast enough, I'm not 100%.
I know at Gnar he can just take it even if he's in mini form, and he just gets it. It's just, it's just
you need a knock-up,
Sylas.
which, I mean, you've got Mersa there who can do that, so it's actually not going to be too bad for him, but...
Yeah, Mersa, HiRit, and Shlatan. Actually, everyone pretty much has a decent way of knocking people up as such for the stolen Yasuo. But again, just a curious, fleeting thought that came across my mind as we go towards about 5 minutes into the game. And it's still pretty much dead even apart from the kill on the bot side. And now we start to see where the junglers start to make their moves, if they make any moves before, level 6 hits.
Yeah, I mean, overall, right, for Misfits, the bot lane is fine. You've got Neon and Mersa who are in a relatively good spot. The summoner spells for Carzzy and Labrov aren't up yet, so you can still look to keep the pressure here. A good freeze. This is where I kind of want to go, okay, Shlatan, what's your game plan? because there's two options, right? You double down on putting Carzzy and Labrov behind while these similar spells are down for, say, the next 20-30 seconds, or you actually move up towards your top side and try and play off of HiRit and Vetheo, because as we said, these are your strong side lanes that you're going to be looking to play through, but unfortunately for them, Perkz has roamed.
Perkz has roamed. That pink ward did not catch him, or vision ward, as they now look to try and go for the full dive. He just gets stacked up. They're going to put in the Dominus, and they're going to have the last breath as well. He gets knocked back, jumps away before he can get kicked down, but now Alphari is actually going to get blocked by the wind wall. Does not quite catch him out. Has got the stolen Dominus, but Vetheo cannot get the call back, and if anything, Perkz is feeling frisky. They might not be able to get the chill back though. Alphari's so low. One down. Now Vetheo feels confident. He's level 7. He's not going to go for it though. It's still a 1-for-1, but that got real close.
That got real silly. I mean, you didn't need to go for that again. You got what you came for, right? The kill under the tower, TP out from Vedius. You're looking great. You even can't have the play on the bot side. Carzzy and Labrov have managed to like keep the wave off of tower, so there's no cross map coming through for Misfits, but instead they try and go back in that one time too far. Kind of comes back to bite them, but still 2-for-1, gold all even, and all said and done, Vitality have slowly but surely kept the game in at least touching distance. I know it's early, 7 minutes, but Selfmade about to hit 6. Perkz still has his out level 6, and with no flash on Vetheo, they can look to make a play mid.
They can look to make a play. I will say, of course, Misfits very happy to say they got themselves a dragon. It means they don't feel comfortable fighting around an objectives 5v5 as they get a hook down. They're going to force the flash out of Carzzy, who has to try and kite this one back. Great damage, though, on the Nautilus. Means that they just cannot trade this one off. Neon trying to see if he can do it, but this karma kiting is so damn good. He eventually gets the kill back, and now Labrov needs to walk away. Good guy, Minion. Does tank up a zap, but at the end of it all, it's still a 1-for-1. Very close in the bot side.
Hey, Neon got 2 kills now. He's got a 10 CS lead. He's going to shove this wave in. I mean, for Misfits, this bot lane is coming up trumps off that early play, and they're continuing to punish. And for Shlatan, again, that is phenomenal news, because now you can go and focus on your top half of the map. Your bot side has already run away with this, and we're going to come in towards this replay here and just see how it's done. Mersa moves up, great hook onto Carzzy, and there's a flash that does come in over the chompers, but there's so much damage that is able to come down so quickly onto the Nautilus. And just nice job here from Neon to continue shoving under this wet tower. Takes a tower shot for his trouble, but knows he can get out.
That was very much a I go in and get the kill or I die. If he doesn't get the kill there, it doesn't really work out with him. Now Mersa roaming up towards this top side, just says hello and then backs himself away. It looks like the side of Misfits may be looking to try and sneak away the Rift Herald. Shelly would be the next real objective that either of these guys take, and with the pressure they have top and the pressure they will have mid, they should be able to take that objective as well.
Yeah, the problem is that Neon can't really step up to this tower. As I say that he is, I think you back the hell away, because as you can see, Selfmade and Labrov sitting off in the wings. You don't want to feel the wrath of Selfmade, who hasn't really got his teeth into the game yet, but with level 6 hit, with Perkz also roaming, yeah, Neon, Mersa, do not touch that tower.
Yeah,
That's not a safe zone.
You got to be able to trade this one out. And this is what we see teams from a lot. They'll say, look, we don't want to fight around Rift Herald. We don't feel like we can right now. So we're just going to basically trade the plates that you will get for plates down on the other side of the map.
Hey, yeah, but there's resources dedicated boss, but Vetheo gets pushed in. He can now potentially look for roam. There's a lot that you can do to punish the resources that Vitality have already put onto that bot side. Vetheo, though, will get spotted out on that ward, so may not be able to look for any sort of play off the mid lane push.
Not quite just yet, as we now see Neon just soaking up all these minions. But now we see HiRit getting jumped on here. We'll actually jump straight back onto Alphari, who pops the Dominus, and you have got flash here for HiRit. Doesn't actually use it. It's a tit for tat in top side.
The big thing here, though, is that for Misfits, you want to be trying to play through your side lanes, right? I've kind of went on a broken record for this one, but here it's not in the lead. You're actually behind for Vetheo as well, because he's down to nearly 20 CS. And yes, your bot lane is doing well, but your bot lane is just going to be trying to win the mid push while your side lanes win. Perkz is doing great. Alphari's in a good spot. It's not like you're just going to be able to take over in side lanes the way you want. And Vitality can still look for good team fights. Shlatan needs to make things work with this Rift Herald.
Well, Shlatan is going to try and make it work, but the side of Vitality are already wise to these antics. So they're saying, look, we know you're going to try and drop this mid lane. We know you're going to try and get this Sylas back up into a winning situation. So we're going to put our bot lane into mid, cover that base, and you're not going to be able to get anything from it. So we have got about half, or maybe a little bit over half of the time left on the Rift Herald here for Shlatan. So he has to make something work. And the last call means that Vitality's bot lane, they don't even have to go the long way.
Yep, can hop themselves down. And
it's a nice little shortcut.
But for Vitality, right, like they've got the team fight in a good spot. They've got their side lane pressure in a good spot as well, because Perkz can match the side lane. Alphari can do the same as...
Selfmade, he's hovering, he's thinking about it, he's gonna go in, flashing away there from Vetheo. Knows that he needs to keep himself safe, but that's a big summoner down.
Yeah, I mean, really strong job from Vetheo there to manage to get away. Selfmade trying to make it happen with Perkz, but not quite able to do so. And now you got to look, all right, Perkz gets shoved in mid. There's no ultimate available to play off the Selfmade, but still the opportunities to see if they can move around the map and make plays, especially 35 seconds until this dragon is up and available. With push not really being allowed here for Vitality's bot lane, Selfmade and Perkz have been called to break this.
I mean, they've been called, but Selfmade was spotted, so they know that this is happening. They know that the side of Vitality are going to try and go for this, but Misfits are trying to answer in kind. Selfmade will have his ult stolen, flash in, they get the hook down, they're going to try and get a Mersa, sacrificing himself, they get him knocked back and kicked over the wall. Selfmade just couldn't get the kill, and now it's a 1-for-none, 4-for-3, or 4v3, as Vitality try and run away. Labrov using his speed, using his empowered W to keep himself safe, but Misfits wise to the call and answer back.
Phenomenal job from Misfits. Like, honestly, just reading, hey, look, Selfmade doesn't have ult. He's not going to be as impactful in these fights as a Diana usually would if she combo with Perkz. Also, no real engage support on the bot side of the map or anything to set up Perkz means he's got to slowly ramp up that ultimate ability, and he's not able to do so. So Misfits, they get the kill, they get the dragon. They're really doing a good job of playing off the strengths that Neon and Mersa have set up for them on this bot side.
Really, really well played there, and Misfits just answering everything Vitality try to throw at them. This Renekton will go toe-to-toe right now with HiRit, who should have the knockback, and yep, it's going to be, again, an equal trade of health bar, but that's not really what you want when you're against a poke champion like a Jayce who can just sustain behind the tower.
The big thing, though, is that, like, there is going to come a point where if Neon just gets big enough, Misfits just look for team fights, right? Like, they don't care. If you've got a massive Jinx, it's all fine, especially when Mersa can set you up like this, right? Great target selection, just deleting Selfmade, know that he's not going to be that tanky, and then they can just turn the rest of the fight forward with Vetheo providing that bruiser front line, and we can see this again and again. If you just have Neon pushing this bot side, you get Shlatan down here with the ultimate, with the Rift Tower, which now has been popped. It actually looks like it's
ran out of time.
Was it? I thought I had a little bit more time. Anyway, either way, unfortunately, he's not going to go bot line. I would have liked that a lot just to get Neon ahead, but...
Oh, Perkz is going to try and set something up for himself, but great wind wall. You can see just as it comes out, it stops the dredge line from hitting. That keeps him safe. They go right behind Labrov, who's forced to flash away. Very nicely done there by Shlatan. It still doesn't equal into any kills as of yet. They will get the 320 gold only onto Shlatan, so that Rift Herald not doing 100% of what it's usually used to doing. But Misfits, again, answering to Vitality. Vitality look for something, they don't fully get it, and Misfits have an answer again to try and just turn it back.
Look at Misfits, though, getting control in this bot side jungle, and now is Carzzy, who's already low. He's got to run away, so even if they don't get the play in mid, it still translates into the play in bot side for Misfits, which is honestly where I wanted to see the play happen anyway. So for me, if I'm a Misfits fan, I'm a happy camper after that one.
I think a lot of Misfits fans are going to be very, very happy. As we can see now, Vitality, it feels like they're trying to make it work. They're trying to make something happen because, again, we know these players. They have the ceiling, the skill ceiling to be able to do it. But Misfits just feel like they have got the answers. It feels like they have got themselves a way to just answer a lot of what Vitality is throwing at them.
I like what Vitality are doing, though, right? Like, we saw Misfits go into that bot side jungle, get that vision control. They're now answering with the cross map and getting vision top side. This could potentially lead to something where they can try and make a play in the turret. And it looks like what they're going to maybe do is rotate Carzzy up top side and try and play off the vision control they've already set up here, which...
Mersa. He's going to get Moonfalled, and he's going to get Ace in the hold all the way down. Carzzy will get his first kill of the game. He will delightfully take that. And now Alphari finds HiRit, who does get a bit of a shield. He has got the dominance on him for the moment, but he can't really follow up without committing his flash, and that would be a one-way trip. So you get the pick. Good moves here from Vitality, and now they're looking to try and take out Shelly.
And this is really good from Vitality, right? They got control of the top side. They're looking towards the next objective to get the pick, and now Perkz wants to make sure he's not picked.
He's going to have to be a bit careful there. HiRit will have a lot of poke. You've also got the push in mid lane, and this is going to be a bit of a move here from Misfits.
The problem is, though, Alphari's going to have to go bot to protect the tower push coming through from Vetheo. If he commits that TP down to the bot side, Vetheo just TPs up to the Rift Herald, so you get the mid lane tower for Misfits, you get the bot lane tower for Misfits, and potentially the Rift Herald as well, because Vitality are trying to corner all sides of the map, and Misfits are playing them like a fiddle.
They really, really are. Misfits just answering absolutely everything. I know I keep saying it, but it is Vitality just throwing up a question and Misfits putting their hand up like a teacher's pet and saying, yes, this is the answer.
And this was something Misfits really struggled with. They were not good at finding cross maps. They didn't really know how to set it up with HiRit. They weren't looked like they were communicating properly, and it always looked like because they weren't really working with like Mersa to find roams with Shlatan, HiRit not really finding the lane in the right position to make these plays, that it wasn't coming around. Now though we're seeing, hey, Neon and Mersa again finding these big advantages in the bot lane, opening up Mersa to link up with Shlatan, and they're moving as a unit. That's making it so difficult for Vitality to find holes in the armor.
You just saw the goal difference there. About 1,000 in the bot lane does mean a Gale Force into a Zeal. Thank you again, observers. And look, it's pretty much equal across the board. Top lane a little bit ahead there for HiRit, equal in the mid lane, tiny bit, I guess, for Perkz. It's not exactly what you expect it to be, considering the big wombo you brought in.
This could potentially blow up, though, with the next dragon, right? This is maybe the third dragon coming through for Misfits, and Vitality, yes, are going to trade it on towards the Rift Herald, but I'd rather see them try and set up vision control. They want to look for picks with this combo because of how far behind they are.
But Misfits are even saying, look, we know we're stronger. We know we can take a fight. So you're not even going to be able to get the cross-map trade because we don't have to give you the trade.
The big one, though, is that if Vitality can find the key members of Misfits, this all goes completely out the window. A good self-made Perkz combo onto Neon takes away such a big chunk of damage. And that's why Vitality at least are trying to bait Misfits into this. But again, I love that Misfits are calling it. They're saying, look, we don't want to go in here. We know the power that this Diana-Yasuo combo can have. Instead, we're going to play towards the dragon and make sure that we're setting ourselves up where now, okay, you know, that split push potential that we talked about with Jayce being able to take towers, maybe Vetheo playing off on the side, we could ignore a bunch of these dragons. You don't have that luxury Vitality anymore.
It'll be a 22.5-minute Dragon Soul potential here for the side of Misfits, and that is really, really scary. Again, you're looking at the kind of carries they've got available to them. The Jinx, the Jayce, the Sylas in particular, who's just going to be able to sustain while being in the face of absolutely everyone on Vitality. It's a bit scary now. They have got options. I'm not saying it's done and dusted, but you got to start throwing some stuff at Misfits that you're not going to be able to compare. And see the Super Mega Death Rocket coming out, not going to hit. Nice try, observers. I'm not going to get baited again.
It's a nice try from Neon as well, right? It's just about trying to make sure Vitality are back in disjointed times and making it tough for them to keep up on the map. But again, Misfits, I actually was like watching their videos. Their vision control, especially around objectives, has been pretty lackluster, but I want you to look at just the amount of vision control that they actually have right now. Like, it is all over the place in this topside jungle. You've got it all set up here, they got wards in behind them, all here, and Vetheo knows that he's going to be totally fine, so Vitality trying to set up in this mid lane aren't really pressuring Misfits.
Well, they are right now, because Shelly has joined, so it's going to be a 4v5 effectively, as we can see now going in. It's going to be Mersa as he gets taken out straight away. There is a TP on the backside. That was massive! Out of nowhere, 3-man blast, Moonfall, and Vitality have the push!
And Vitality find it at the perfect moment. Now you've got Carzzy, who's just got mid-tower. They can look for a tier 2, and that was the moment that we talked about. If Selfmade and Perkz can find that right engage, they can turn this game around.
What a magnificent setup there by Selfmade. Got himself right on top of everybody, and there wasn't a moment of hesitation. Now Vitality have flipped the script. Now Vitality have said, we got pushed in every single lane. We're going to get all this yummy, yummy gold, and we are going to be so well set up for this dragon in 3 minutes.
Gold across the board, towers across the board. That is so much that has just gone into the hands of Vitality, and we'll see it here, right? I didn't want Misfits to actually full engage onto this. I was like, play at range, look to clear out the wave, but we see this all in coming through from Mersa, who tries to set up. They're thinking, hey, we can TP on this, but you group up 3 members, and Perkz and Selfmade instantly leap on it. One misstep for Misfits, and that's all that Vitality.
They get out, and yes, great for the Misfits to not lose any more than they did, but that was just, I wasn't even expecting it, because again, Selfmade was in stasis. He wasn't really looking aggressive. Again, you're not really doing anything in stasis. You're waiting for 2.5 seconds, but such a fantastic moment, recognize the position they were in and just capitalize on it perfectly.
And again, our eyes are coming back to Perkz, right? 3-0 on this Yasuo. 2 items completed with that Mortal Reminder now coming through as well. He is going to be so strong in these side lanes, but even more so if he finds another fight like that. And suddenly Neon, who has been doing so well, has been positioning great, makes that one misstep, and now Perkz has found his way into this game, and you are so scared for Misfits as the rest of these fights start to come up. Your best hope is, again, as you can see now, right? Have Shlatan mirror your side lanes, shadow your side lanes even, make sure they can push in, and try to avoid giving Vitality more of these opportunities to find great engages.
All right, we got a minute and a half until the dragon spawns. Everyone's just going to be pushing in lanes. Everyone's just going to be trying to amp themselves up as much as they physically possibly can, and that's where I want to try and set this one up. We're looking at flashes. There's going to be none for HiRit, none for Shlatan. There's going to be one for Vetheo and Neon and Mersa. You are not going to have the same flash moonfall from Selfmade. You are not, apart from that, but you're going to have absolutely everything else. Where do you want to see these ones go for? Do Misfits even attempt to contend against this next dragon?
No.
Okay,
not
thanks.
even a little.
All right, see you next week. Okay.
Thanks. Yeah, great analysis.
See you
Yeah. But honestly, no, I think you play side lanes. And I think Vitality, with that big team fight, have swung this game right back around. I mean, the gold is already in their favor, right? But even just the map pressure that they can have, Misfits need to start trading their tempo instead of looking at dragons and looking at these side lanes. And for Vitality, I think the fact that they are able to consistently find these moments to come back into the game like this speaks volumes to this team, right? Like, you've got Perkz, who was a big factor in that, one of only 2 players to win both an EU and an NA title. You look across at Alphari and Selfmade, who still have yet to pick up a title, but 2 of the best in their roles in Vitality. And you got Carzzy, who, while Perkz was on hiatus from picking up LEC titles, has picked up 2 titles last year. So you've got a team that is stacked to the brim of experience and talent. And when Vitality want to try and set this up, they're looking for a fight now.
They are looking. It's actually Misfits who are looking for the fight right now. They are going to try and contest this. They recognize if they can get this soul, it would mean a lot of mitigation to what they just lost. It is going to be Vitality saying, you're not getting this one for free. Look at all the pink boards.
Don't fight us.
They're going to try and go for it. They're not listening to you, Dagda. You are not the coach. You are not the team. You do not get to decide what happens here. They're going to go in. Not stolen. It's going to be secured there by Vitality, and now the real fight can begin. I feel like Misfits just give off Shlatan as a little bit of a sacrifice to the gods, and they back themselves away.
Sorry, which gods are this? Are these the regular gods or the Baron gods that Vitality can now turn towards? Because they have full push in mid. They can start to look for these plays. You've taken off the jungler.
Carzzy needs to be so careful. He's going to get jumped on if he's not... Oh, he'll take about half his HP. Now you got to think about it again as Vitality. You got to remember, even with this Baron, there's still a hell of a lot of poke available for Misfits.
Yeah, but you have great engage, right? And look at the vision. There's nothing there. Thank you, observers, because you want to go into a Yasuo Diana comp blind? I mean, fair dudes to you, but I ain't following you.
Yeah, with all ultimates available as well, apart from the Dominus, which is just used. But look, they're going to go for it. Mercer's going to be the one to face check. He's going to be the one to try and go for the Selfmade's not in the pit just yet. Now he is. They're going to try and burn this one down. 3,000, 2,000. Vetheo pops his soul and Dominus as they go in. They're going to try and kite the steal, but they will not get it. Now everyone's kind of stuck in the pit. They get the 2-man ultimate, and Selfmade goes straight into stasis. Now Vetheo with nothing. It's going to be on Neon. He needs to try and turn this one around as Shlatan is there. But look at this Carzzy just ripping through everybody alongside Selfmade. They're not able to get any more kills, and it's an ace for Vitality.
And just like that, our gold is 7,000 in the lead for Vitality. Baron buff enabled, and Vitality have cracked open this game. The team fight decision-making from Vitality has been nuts.
Let's have a look at this replay here, because again, you're all corralled in, but this Baron goes down so quickly, and still you have the big wombo combo.
Yeah, and look, you're 4 versus 5, right? You try to go into this, nice knock-up from Mersa, but the double knock-up onto Vetheo and also onto Mersa enables this setup so well. And Carzzy is positioned perfectly in this fight, right? He's got Labrov who's enabling him, which means Neon can't win the 1v1 in the AD carries. You got the rest of Vitality that is dealing with Misfits off the left-hand side. And Shlatan just a little bit too late to the party. I mean, Oisin buff would have been nice for you, but was losing both the Dragon and the Baron, and that fight really worth it, Misfits.
That's the big thing. You got to talk about it. I'm sure the Analyst Desk will talk about that burger flip just a little bit later, but we'll see if it ends up really punishing them here as Misfits now in the hole for about 7,000 gold, nearly 8,000 gold. Look at the items that got finished up. You now have a GA onto Perkz. He's got to be killed twice. You're working towards the Infinity Edge here for Carzzy. You've got yourself so much survivability and just engaged with Selfmade, with the Zhonya's, and of course the Hextech Rocket Belt. and they're going to try and jump onto him. Oh, that's a very good flash from Carzzy, and Shlatan now in no man's land needs some help from his team as Alphari goes straight underneath the turret, and look at how safe and how secure this AD carry of Vitality is. No one can touch him, no one can get onto him. I will say Alphari will die, so it's a trade from top for jungle, as now you can see in a 4v4, Selfmade will go golden, but can he keep himself alive? He doesn't have himself a flash, but they're going to go straight down on top of Mersa. They'll take him out into jungle for support. HiRit's trying to do something. Neon's going for it as well. Let's all on Perkz. Can he keep himself going? Can he keep going on top of this? It's the mid laners of both Misfits and Vitality trying to make sure they win this game, as Perkz is still alive. He's still hunting. He's still trying to see if he can get away with this. Great flash from Vetheo to try and keep himself in this, but a good shutdown. Misfits aren't dead yet.
They aren't dead, but they are definitely looking bloodied. The base is in shambles. Both mid and bot inhibitor turrets are down. Inhibitors still stand, which definitely gives them a shout. But we'll see this replay here. Carzzy, brilliant reactions there to keep himself safe, and that just means Shlatan's overextended, but Vitality, thinking they smell blood in the water, tried to go that bit too far. Alphari stuck underneath the tower thanks to Mersa. You've got the engage from Perkz on the opposite side alongside Selfmade, where they're just getting peppered down with Neon being able to do so much at this range. Vitality just trying to take a fight on too many fronts, whereas Misfits are able to play nice and grouped over the course of this and find themselves a good amount of shutdowns, I'm going to be honest, and a lot of that going towards Neon.
And Vetheo.
That could be pretty big.
Yeah, Vetheo just picking up about 1,700 off the last 2 kills, 1,700 as well. So doing a hell of a lot for his build, and he comes back out with a Rabadon's Death Cap. So not over just yet, but like you said, Misfits, their base isn't looking the strongest. They aren't exactly out of the woods just yet, and they need to find stronger engages like that. They need to try and separate Vitality so they don't get the clean 5v5.
I mean, yes, but the best chance for Misfits is already gone, right? The fact that they didn't try and play through side lanes doesn't fill me with hope that they're going to try and play through side lanes here, and you don't really have the opportunity because Vitality are just going for your base the second Misfits show in the mid lane.
Yep, you got TPs on HiRit or on Sylas, but it's not going to mean a muff, so you're just going to lose that inhibitor. And honestly, Vitality can keep going. You have a Caitlyn, you will just shred these down alongside of Diana. They're going to TP, they're going for the end.
Yeah, I mean, Misfits, they're not in position. The towers are falling like there's no tomorrow.
And they're fighting on the picture-in-picture as well. Thank you, observers. You can see they're trying to just separate this fight around. The turrets are dead. You still have Neon and you have Sylas. You have got 2 massive carries holding the line. Hold the door. Do not let Vitality break through. And Misfits could look to try and turn this one. They are going to be happy with defending. But again, Alphari's still here. Alphari's still going. He will find Mersa, and he falls. Now, the base defense can really begin. Vitality looking, prodding, hoping to find someone overextended. Selfmade is sitting around saying, I still have my flash, I still have my ult, we can still go for the wombo. He misses the wombo, and he's not going to be able to get it, but Shlatan goes a little too far forward, and now Neon is being cut and chased down. Nothing he can do. Misfits, it was admirable, it was valiant, but there's not a lot left in the tank for you right now. Your Sylas will fall, your base will be taken, and Vitality go 4-4.
Vitality coming back strong in this game. Misfits, it looked like they had the cogs turning in their favor, but at the last second, the wheels comes off the Misfits machine, and Vitality spring back into action with that phenomenal team fight.
Big win there for Vitality. Like we said in the early game, it was Misfits dictating. It was Misfits saying, look, we got all the answers. Don't worry about it. This quiz is going to be so easy. And then one mistake. I don't even think it was a mistake. It was an opportunity for Vitality, and they came back right back in.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing was do not try and go towards the fight, right? You've got what you need to try and look towards these side lanes. You manage to get those 3 dragons early. You have the opportunity to actually just look to play through side lanes, forget about the dragon, and try and make those combos work in side lanes, but they just never decided to make it happen.
Yeah, they never really could. We're going to have to send and see what Twitter thinks. Your key player of the game at LEC on Twitter, Selfmade, Perkz, or Carzzy. I'm personally leaning towards Selfmade a little bit. That moonfall was kind of disgusting.
It's really nasty, but Perkz also picked up a lot of those kills, so we'll have to see exactly where the ball's going to go.
Bigger number, better player. But Vitality get the win and tie Misfits at 4-4 in the standings. After the break, we will hear from Carzzy on his first weeks on a new and revamped Team Vitality. We'll see you guys soon.
Swear I never been